What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Black Belt Business Podcast. I'm your host, Eliot Marshall, and it is my goal with each episode of this podcast to share the stories, strategies, tactics, tools, and resources that will help you establish or grow your martial arts school. The Black Belt Business Podcast is brought to you by Easton.Online. You can find all of our digital courses, martial arts curriculums, and resources designed to help you enhance your business at Easton.Online. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. All right, guys, here we are, back another episode, Easton.Online podcast. First, we're going to try to pre-congratulate Phipps, Jordan, for two things. By the time this airs, he'll probably have fought.
Hell yeah.
And won.
Yes.
And he's really hoping his Detroit Lions are Super Bowl champs.
Let's go.
They're in the NFC Championship game right now.
Yeah, they won't be champ. Yeah, actually, by the time this airs, yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, right?
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. I don't think it's going to happen, you know? I think Lamar's balling out too much right now, Phipps.
See,
You know?
the league likes KC.
What's that?
The league loves KC.
Look, let's be super clear here on this KC. You know, let's talk about some important things first.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Let's be super clear on this KC thing. I feel really, really bad because I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan. I really liked Travis Kelce. I love Andy Reid. Okay. I appreciate what Taylor Swift has done, like with her life, and she's done a great job. But this Travis Kelce fucking Taylor Swift thing, it's got like stop. Like I don't I don't want to see it when I watch football.
I don't really follow it, and it permeates my universe, which tells me a lot about how ridiculous it is.
It's too like I am rooting against Kansas City because of that relationship. Like I want anyone to win. Really, I really just need Lamar, like the Ravens, to win. Because if they make it to the Super Bowl, it's just going to be a Taylor Swift Super Bowl.
Yeah. They're going to change the halftime show.
Of course they are.
Right.
Bring it
Poor
down to the
Usher.
Bucks.
He's going to be performing, and they're just going to cut to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, everything. He performs, look at Taylor Swift up there. He performs, look at Taylor Swift up there.
He ought to just get her incorporated into the show to just solve the problem.
No. The problem will be fucking solved if the Ravens and Lamar take care of business on Sunday.
Got it.
That's really all I care about.
Got it.
More than anything.
I'm going to tune in just because I like this drama.
Oh, it's so annoying. And I like them all.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I don't listen to her music. Let's be clear. Like her music is fucking god awful to me. You know, it's god awful. But I can appreciate I can appreciate what she's done.
Yeah. No, I mean, she's a boss.
Yeah.
Billionaire.
Yeah, billionaire. Changed. Yeah, you know, amazing.
Yeah.
Like
I
incredible.
listen to some of her songs on my playlist.
You like them?
Yeah, some of them, not all of them, but yeah.
She's got some bangers.
I do like
exactly.
that. I do like that with age. Like as you age, you can. I love some Christina Aguilera. Like Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah, I appreciate that
I
song.
love
But
Adele.
yeah, no, some old school like Christina.
But like I like hip hop.
I mean, her Xtina phase,
Yeah.
you know, what I used to
Hip-hop's my
dance
genre
to
is
in
what
college.
I'm saying.
Yeah, me too.
Right? But I can appreciate some shit from a genre that I don't like and really like. But when you were younger, when you were like 20, 50, at that age, no way, man. You couldn't.
It was part of your identity.
Yeah.
Like you only listened to your genre, and to listen to anything else was a betrayal of your tribe.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, let's talk non-important stuff.
Right.
The schools.
Right. Okay, got it.
All right,
The important stuff is out of the way.
important stuff is out
now
of the way.
let's get to the ridiculous.
Phipps is cutting weight and might not smile the whole podcast. So we are talking about these things that really, really help you run your school. Okay? Just as a recap. We've talked about core values and these bigger picture ideas like DHs and program directors and passing information down. And that, as we think about it, again, that stuff for us is very, very important. Right? Like, because we have 8 now. And by the way, goddamn, Larry's beautiful.
Yeah.
I went last night.
Larry looks great.
Oh my God.
All the new branding is up.
Oh my God.
Walls look great.
Yeah.
It already looked good, and that was when I was down there on the opening day, and they didn't have the wall mats or anything. So it was
Wow. It almost
Right,
looks,
yeah. I'm going
like,
there next week, and I haven't seen the new wall mats or
It's
anything
AOJ
like that.
work.
Yeah, it's amazing.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
definitely the new standard.
Yeah.
I'd love to see us circle back on the other academies and update them to look more like.
Nah, man,
Lowry.
Denver's staying right how it is. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. No way.
Man.
Like, I mean, I appreciate Lowry. Like, without a doubt, I 100% appreciate Lowry, but nah, dog.
When I was watching kids in Denver like a couple weeks ago, and like the kids classes take place in that octagon, I'm like, man, if we're gonna have the kids classes in the cage, they ought to be able to just like wrestle off the cage.
Yeah.
You know, like if they're gonna run into the cage, then like let's start standing up against the cage. Let's start trying to do takedowns off the cage. Like, why not? You know, it's there.
Well, I think
they're gonna run into it anyway.
I haven't told Mike this, but I think I sold the cage yesterday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's glorious.
That'll be good.
That'll
be really good.
Yeah.
We should get a ring.
Huh?
We should get a ring.
No.
We should.
Dude, our
no.
insurance skyrockets with a boxing ring. I found that out. Like Mike shared that with us, and I was like, "Whoa, it's ridiculous."
Because I think you're going to do full contact.
Something, but yeah, I guess
No,
there's been a lot of boxing incidents,
Right.
and so like the insurance premiums on a boxing ring.
Because they think you're going to do full contact.
Okay, yeah,
But full contact sparring.
yeah,
Because we don't have, no martial arts school says that they're full contact sparring unless they have a boxing ring, and then if they have a boxing ring, right? So yeah, that's the thing.
yeah.
You know?
But I agree. It would be great for our Muay Thai program if we could have that ring. But holy crap!
Yeah, I'm going to veto that. Sorry, I love you. I'm joking.
Sorry.
I'm not. No, again, nobody laughed. It was just like, fuck you.
He's just like, I don't like this veto power.
No, it's cool. It's like every time I get in the ring, it's like, oh, this is interesting. Not really used to the ropes or the corners, but we'll figure it out as we go.
You're like, do I bounce
That's
off
how-
these?
bro, this
Do
is
I
good.
clothesline somebody?
Yeah, it's how fighting was, though,
Yeah.
right? You never knew we never knew what you were going to fight
Exactly.
in. Yeah.
It could be the alleyway.
Yeah.
It could be a dumpster right there. Like, it's just,
No, I'm talking
adapt.
fighting. When I came up in fighting, sometimes a ring, sometimes a cage, sometimes this like squared thing. It was fucking weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes, right? Yeah. All right. So the things we need to run a school, right? And let's talk. I want to talk curriculum.
Okay.
To start. Because I think this is somewhere where people lack
Sure.
in these really, really massive ways. And we're going to start off with this statement, and it's going to be a little controversial. No one's going to like hearing this.
Okay.
Your ability to do jiu-jitsu and your ability to teach jiu-jitsu well to your students in an organized fashion that they actually pick up and learn, and you attract more people to, and people will stay with it. The two are not connected even a little bit. If you can do it versus the teaching of it and structuring a curriculum in a class. They're not even a touch connected. You could be really, really, really good at jiu-jitsu, and I'm going to say most likely you teach it like shit.
And conversely, you can be an excellent teacher, but you don't have a single accolade to your name.
You can not have a single accolade, but you still have to be able to do it. And
Yes.
Same with Muay Thai, right? You can't suck, right? Yeah. You can't suck. You might not have ever fought or competed, or anything like that, like Danaher. But he doesn't suck at jiu-jitsu,
No, he doesn't.
right? So you have the stat skill set must transfer. Like, it has to transfer the other way. Right?
Yeah.
You can't be a great teacher and be shitty at doing it.
Right. Yeah.
I think we should, with the curriculum discussion,
There's two things. Go ahead.
What is your goal as a school owner? If it's just to teach people martial arts and you're not trying to grow your business, do you need a curriculum? No, because you can look at because eventually if a student stays with you for 10 years, whether you did this in a systematic way or you just teach a random technique every day, they'll get solid at jiu-jitsu because they stayed. But most students won't stay because they don't feel themselves getting better. Even after 5 years, it's like if you have a curriculum in place, those students are going to get much better, much faster. And then the students are going to stay because they can feel that, right? Like that's one of your retention, ability to retain students is them noticing their own progress. So is your goal just to teach jiu-jitsu or is your goal to have a business?
I think that's one of the biggest things with it is they have, like, I think that's the biggest retention tool. They have to notice their progress.
Absolutely.
Right? And all the other stuff is secondary. Community, retention, like calling them, like all the, you know, like all that other stuff is secondary. But if they're not getting better, and if they can't feel that they're getting better, they're leaving.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we're not, and I think what you're getting here, Phipps, and tell me if this is wrong. Gordon Ryan was going to get good regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Regardless. Because he's going to go train 3 times a day, every day, and yeah, he's going to get good. I was going to get good, and I'm nowhere near Gordon Ryan. I did the same thing. I trained 2 to 3 times a day, every day. I got good. I got very good. We're talking about the 2 to 3 day a week hobbyist, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying in running a business and growing it. So rather than, you know, are you just going to, you know, build world champions? It's 2 different things. You've got to realize that.
Yeah, and it's even like, because in martial arts, there's still a very old mentality with a lot of people where it's like, well, if you're not going to stick with it, then like, I'm not worried about how good you can get.
You have to be loyal to me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's easy to say, I don't need a curriculum in place because if this student stays with me for 10 years, they're going to get good. And that's true. But most students aren't going to stay with you for 10 years, especially if they don't feel like they're getting better. So it's that I don't need to worry about these students who aren't going to be here for 10 years mentality, which again, like if you feel that way, that's a way you can approach running your school, but you probably are struggling to stay over 100 students.
And don't get off the podcast because we're not that funny, right? Like this isn't an entertainment podcast. This is
we're not
right, like we're not like, you know, Joe Rogan Experience, you know, like where it's like, oh, I'm gonna try to entertain people and maybe educate, right? Like, but yeah, so we're not that podcast. So just turn it off now. Like,
Yeah.
Thanks for the download and.
Yeah. So Phipps, to clarify what you're saying, you're saying that if your goal as a martial arts school owner, like, cause some school owners, like they are content with like 100, 150 students and they're making money and they don't want to deal with the headaches or problems that come along with like growth or scale. Like we are friends with school owners who are content with where they are and they're not really looking to increase their revenue.
Have curriculum.
But yeah, sure. They have curriculum. But I guess my point is like you're saying that if your goal is to kind of maintain the status quo, like hover around that way, you can probably do it without a curriculum because you can teach your students and then you can groom new instructors over a decade and then they can kind of take over for you. But if your goal is to grow and scale, right? Like you maybe you want more than one school. And I think we probably even work with some people who have more than one school, but they still don't have a curriculum, which is an interesting discussion.
None of our clients don't have curriculum.
Okay, got it. But to do that, I think that's where a curriculum becomes absolutely necessary. Like Alex, a couple of things I want to touch on. One, did Mike message y'all about what he read in that Adam Grant book, Hidden Potential? I haven't read the book yet. I have it on my shelf, but I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay.
So what he messaged all the program directors once because this really jazzed him up about our model was there's all this research and all these case studies where the research shows that beginners are not most skillfully taught by experts. Right? Because the gap between the beginner and the expert is so vast that the expert has lost touch with where the beginner is. And I remember teaching fundamentals as a blue belt, right? And I think a lot of new instructors or blue belt instructors may struggle a little bit with imposter syndrome, or they're overinflated in their own abilities, like one of those two things. I definitely oscillated between the two, that's for sure. But I remember having these epiphanies, right? Where it was like I would revisit the fundamentals curriculum as a blue belt, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize that I could get this Kimura every time they tried to pummel escape me on like from the bottom of side control. And having those epiphanies made me a more skillful teacher at that level because I was more connected to where those beginners were, right? not so much like I would like to believe, not so much now, because what I'm more interested in this stage of my martial arts journey is more about strategy and tactics. How am I chaining the moves together, and where is the overall meta at? Like, it's just a different phase of my journey. And so it's a little bit harder for me to relate to beginners, because like sometimes those beginners are so excited about getting a tap, like they've got notches on their bedpost, where I'm not. I don't want to incriminate myself here, but like, man, sometimes like how I get to the submission is more interesting to me than the submission itself at this point, right? Like, I like that creativity. So I think that's really interesting. But thinking about that though, like what enables a blue belt to teach beginners is a curriculum. And this comes to my other point. Like, Alex and I were talking about this because we've been going through, like for months now, we've been working on curriculum projects that we're getting ready to shoot with Phipps and execute and all this stuff. So we've talked a lot about this, but, you know, we talked about the fact that, you know, when we opened our Longmont school, or like what Coach Daniel is going through in Lowry right now, like purple belts opening a school. Like, what enables that to happen? And what enables that to happen is that we have these developed curriculums, because we don't have to rely.
There is a black belt at the school.
There is a black belt at the school, right? Yeah, I'm not saying that there
not
wasn't.
Always though, right?
No, not always.
Not always, but we won't.
Not always.
We were alone in Longmont.
We won't do it, but
After seeing how Jordan fucked that up, we are never having a school without a black belt again.
I wouldn't say how you fucked it up, you know, like, I mean, it's kind of a joke, but I'll never, I was super clear with Mike that I think we have enough black belts and we're good enough. It just doesn't look good.
Sure.
Right. And the problem was the pandemic.
Sure.
Right. Because there were black belts scheduled that were supposed to be teaching there. We're not saying not run a school.
Right.
Right. Like, that's fine.
Right.
But the head instructor has to be a black belt.
Yeah, no, I think it,
and
yeah,
no
exactly.
offense to you whatsoever.
No, it's fine. But what enabled me to do that without a black belt there and maintain the quality of the martial art was the curriculum that was developed by black belts, right? Because then it's not relying on me as the repository and encyclopedia of knowledge. I'm simply executing what I have learned from those who have come before me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that goes back to like, what do you want out of your school? Because some instructors are going to be happy teaching 20, 30 classes and they make $50,000, $60,000 a year. They don't need a bigger student base. But other instructors and other school owners, what they're looking for is to eventually like have freedom, right? Where you could teach 20 classes a week, or you could teach 2, and that doesn't change your income any. If you're going to do that, then you have to have a curriculum in place so you can trust a blue belt to teach fundamentals, or you can hand off an intermediate class to a purple belt, right? And still ensure that there's a quality of instruction going on. And obviously you're going to train these people up, but you know that they're teaching the techniques correctly because they're looking at the same thing you are, and they're using the same like terminology that you are as well. But yeah, and also Jordan was one of the best blue belt fundamental instructors. And I would probably still be at Easton, but I would not have signed up on day one if I didn't walk into a fundamentals class as a blue belt and Jordan was teaching. I was like, how does this blue belt know jiu-jitsu like this? You know, it was amazing. So that speaks to the curriculum as well, and how amazing Coach Jordan is. But just to see that as a blue belt coming from a different school, I was like, I can't talk about jiu-jitsu the way this guy's talking about jiu-jitsu. I have to train here.
Right. And that comes, a great point. And that comes to curriculum, right? That comes to curriculum because all of our teachers spread that down well, right? Because when we film, we don't just show a move, right? We're not just like, okay, this is an armbar. We get like, I think they're like 15, 20 minutes each.
Some of them,
right? Where it's like, okay, because you really, in your curriculum, the person needs to understand the why, right? Like, why am I doing it like this? Like, no human, adult and human, right? Like, really works that well in the just do this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just do this. And even like, when a coach is training you to fight, right? And they put you through hell. And it doesn't make sense sometimes, right? Like, I can remember when Greg Jackson used to make us fucking walk the fucking ledge of a mountain with somebody on our back, where like if you slip, you're falling to your death, like literally. And his answer was, I was like, but afterwards I was like, Greg, why the fuck would you make us do that? He's like, I need to get you good with your death. Like that's what it takes to step into a cage. And if you can't get good with death, you're always going to be held back.
Interesting.
It was, and that was part of his philosophy. You don't have to agree with the why. There's nothing to do, but knowing the why is really good. Same thing with the curriculum, and that's why Jordan was able to teach so well, right? Is because he had all this base, this database to look at, be like, okay, boom, 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 okay. So we are massive believers of a curriculum. I disagree with a little bit of what you guys said. I think you should have a curriculum regardless whether you're happy at 150 or not. You should have a curriculum.
Oh, well, I agree with that. Okay. I guess I meant that I think that you can find a level of success without one, and maybe that's what you want.
Right.
I'm not saying that I think it's the most skillful expression of anything.
Okay.
Like
that's what I was saying.
Okay.
Right.
Then it was my misinterpretation of that. This happens a lot.
No. No.
Wow. Crazy.
Damn.
I had no idea.
I let Phipps just say you were a good blue belt teacher, bro. Why'd you have to come at me like that?
There were times where you thought I was a good blue belt instructor too.
Yeah, I know. I agree. You were.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
We're all just talking shit right now.
All right, good.
Okay.
Good.
We have to entertain the people that's
true.
Don't want to grow their business. Like they have,
Right.
they have to still download the next
I have a
episode.
question for you. Why do you think, because this is something that Professor Alex and I talked a lot about, how there are some schools, though, some black belts, world champions, who are vehemently opposed to a curriculum. Like they see it as a stifling thing. Like they see it as, they think that jiu-jitsu is so creative and evolves so quickly that they're opposed to it.
I was going to use the Earth is flat example, but that left and came back. Some people think the Earth is 4,000 years old. I have no fucking clue.
I will say that this happens in any industry or any avenue. This is the way I was taught, and it worked for me.
Yeah,
That's a curriculum, and it worked for me, and I'm a world champion, or I'm just a black belt, right? And that's what that is a level of achievement. So if it worked for me, it can work for everybody else.
That's what I was going with. The Earth is 4,000 years old.
Yeah.
My great grandfather thought that the Earth was 4,000 years old because that's the information they had at the time, right? And then therefore you just move it. You just keep moving that theory down the line. So I think that, and he made it, and he's successful, and he was whatever. So and it's just that.
Well, I was curious what you guys thought, and then part of why I think it is too is because it's hard. Like I think actually,
it's way more work.
I think it's a lot of work. Like it's really, really hard. Like we are, just the process of writing and revising like the kids' intermediate curriculum that we're going to do, which is, it's going to be a separate gi and no gi curriculum, and it's 33 units, which means it's like 66 weeks long. So it's going to take, about 16 months to get through, which is good for the kids. But it was hard. Like I think between me sitting down and putting my ass in the chair and squeezing my brain and doing research and looking at the curriculums we had before as a jumping off point and then revising it with Alex, like I think we spent like 50 hours
it's incredible
writing it, and we haven't even shot the damn thing yet. No. And then I'm estimating how many days of shooting it's going to take us to complete both curriculums, and I think it might take 44 days of 2-hour sessions to get it done.
COVID.
Yeah.
Like we did almost all the curriculums that we have right now, we did during COVID. What the fuck else did we have to do?
And then there's the added headache of once you build all this, actually getting the instructors to do it. Yeah. Like distributing it. Like it has taken us years to like get to our curriculum delivery system that we have now. I think it's very smooth right now, but like it took some iterations to get there.
Yeah.
But even then, with the smoothest delivery, like you still have people that like put their own spin on it somehow,
Right.
or don't pay attention, and a whole other discussion almost.
I want to back up though.
Sure.
I want to talk about what let's get into the specifics for a school. This is what we think your curriculum should look like.
Sure.
Right? Because we talked about the overview here of like whys and the blah, blah, blahs. But like, okay, what's the cadence of your curriculums? What's the structure of the actual class, right, in the curriculum? So that like, somebody listening right now could go, okay, just do that. Like, start doing this.
Uh-huh.
Right? So the cadence.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Let's start at the easiest cadence, advanced.
Okay.
You get to kind of choose. Right?
It's more organic.
It's more, yeah. We don't have a written curriculum for advanced, right? But we focus on the same thing for like minimum a month.
Right.
Right? Passing the open guard. Okay? In this style, right?
Mm-hmm.
Toriando's style passing of the open guard. Okay? Leg locks. Leg locks, when I do leg locks, it's going to be, it's 2 to 3 months.
Right.
Like guaranteed 2 to 3 months. It's not the same leg lock. It's not, right? But it's 2 to 3 months of leg locks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's my cadence. And I, as the advanced instructor, get to choose, and we allow that at all of the schools. The advanced instructor has a little freedom, instructor's choice, that you look at the students, you watch them train, what do they need, and then you go from there.
Right.
But it does not rotate quickly.
Correct.
Okay, now let's go to the other end of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Fundamentals.
Yeah.
We do a 1 week rotating curriculum.
Yes.
We do not separate A class, B class. We did this. Were you guys around for this?
No.
No. Okay. So we used to do Monday, Tuesday this, Wednesday, Thursday B, Monday, Tuesday A technique or A class, class A, Tuesday, Thursday class B, Friday A, Saturday B.
How related were the techniques?
Not at all.
So they were completely different.
Yeah, they could just be.
And what was the thinking behind that? Like why?
To try to encourage the person to come twice a week minimum.
Because they would see different things.
So that they could get so that they could, if you're not gonna see it again on Thursday, what was taught on Tuesday, well, you better come Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, so almost gatekeeping techniques
Yes.
to
Yes.
encourage attendance. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was all wrapped around this idea of 2 to 3 times, come twice a week, because you have to see class A and you have to see class B. We disagree with this.
Okay.
Right? We have left this. It's not enough practice. Right? It's not enough practice of the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Now, so ARC is a 1 week rotating curriculum in fundamentals. And we do that because we want you to see the same thing for a week.
Uh-huh.
Right? So that's the cadence of fundamentals. And then the cadence of intermediate is 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? With a little more in-depth study of each technique. For example, in fundamentals, you're going to learn how to do an armbar.
Uh-huh.
Okay? For a week. And then the next class, let's say, you'll learn how to do a triangle. In intermediate, we're going to start to learn how to put the armbar and the triangle together.
Mm-hmm.
Move the arm differently to set it up, not just grab.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that you get some real practice. Fundamentals, we don't show half guard, but if we were to show a half guard sweep, it would be pummel to the back and that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Intermediate, it would be pummel to the back, grab the toe, sweep them over the other way, right? When they start to drive into you, right? And also, when the whizzer comes in, pummel to the back, you can't get the back because the whizzer's in, and you wrestle them down.
So there's like a modicrum of if this, then that.
What the fuck is a modicrum?
It just came out of my mouth like a sample, a bit. It's like
we might have added an R into a word that didn't modicum.
Modicum,
But
yeah,
it's
whatever.
just a bit.
I just said,
a tiny little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm done.
No, it's
No, it's
it's
okay.
not
No,
that
I'm
you're
done.
dumb.
No,
It's
it's
just
okay.
it's sometimes though. It's like if this happens to me when I read words and I don't even know how they're said sometimes, but they enter my brain and I remember the context with which I read it, And so then I just say it. Like, I don't even know why I said that word.
I love that. Sometimes I'll just say a word. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever used that word.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't
like
even know that I've said it
partially
right.
sure that I'm using the word correctly.
Yeah,
Here it is.
exactly.
Slapped on the
Sometimes I'll have to Google words that I said, and I'm like, did I say that right? Do I even understand what I'm
Look,
saying?
For me, it's why I curse so much, because I don't have a big vocabulary. And you can always put fuck, shit, bitch, motherfucker, right? Like,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
always works, right?
Exactly.
Like,
They're very dynamic words.
Yeah, they can go here or there, you know? And so I'm not going to claim to be
What the fuck is a
intelligent, you know? Yeah.
modicum? Yeah, awesome. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you. That was
Yeah,
hilarious.
I just didn't know. So I was like, wait, well, I need to make sure we're... So yeah, so that's the cadence.
Yeah.
Right?
There's some if this, then that in the intermediate level.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, to get them to try to start to think about not just moves, getting to spots, right? Like almost like game theory, getting to a little hub, and then like you said, if this, then that.
Right.
Now, and we're just talking jiu-jitsu here. I do think most of our people that listen to us and pay attention to us are jiu-jitsu people, and they might have a Muay Thai program.
Yes.
Right, but I think they come to us for jiu-jitsu, so I'm going to stick on jiu-jitsu. Sorry, Phipps, you all right with that?
No, it's fine. Like, let's just
It's the clientele.
pretend like there's only one martial art out there, and it'll be okay.
So, the big thing that we really do with our curriculums is we do feet to floor every class, starting in fundamentals, and it flows. Right? It flows. And we never, this is a massive mistake that people do. This is a massive mistake. This is one of the biggest mistakes with curriculum that people do. You show the offense and the defense in the same fucking class.
The lock and key at the same time.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Right.
No one's, look, hold on. Defense is always ahead of offense.
I was just having this discussion yesterday.
Well, especially if it's like my partner's going for an armbar, I know that there is no other thing that's what we're drilling, and I know the armbar defense because we just practice that too. So it's like you're really not setting up one person for a whole lot of success.
And this comes back to retention.
Yeah.
Right? You want to feel successful at the thing you learned today. So if you show the offense and the deep, it just doesn't fucking work. And we're not even talking armbar. Let's just say mount. We don't show mount offense and mount defense. It's mount offense one week, mount defense maybe the next. That's fine. Right? But not in it's never in the same week. I won't even answer the question if someone asks me how to get out. I say no. You know, if you don't know yet, we're talking fundamentals. We're not talking advanced. Right? If you don't, I still don't believe it in advance, like teaching it. But I'll show whatever if somebody asks me a question.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know how to escape the mount yet, and you come and be like, man, how do I get out of the mount? I'll be like, it's going to be next week. I want the person on top to be successful this week. So I want you to be successful this week on top. Right? Focus on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm always happy to show it after class too. I'm like, hey, just come talk to me after class. You know, and
After
we'll talk
class.
about it. Yes, after class.
Yeah, for sure. But not in class. Yeah, I'll show anything after class.
Yep.
Right? But not in class.
Yeah, I just want to make clear, like we're not gatekeeping the techniques again to
Yeah,
force you to
no,
be
no,
here
no,
next week. Like
no,
I
no,
will
no.
show you this technique,
Right.
but like that's not the focus of class today.
Right.
Is there ever any exception to that?
Yes. 50-50.
Well, what about like guard passing and guard work? Like would you teach how to pass De La Riva before teaching the students how to utilize De La Riva?
Go ahead, Phipps.
That's the unfortunate part, but it's like, yeah, last week we learned De La Riva and you didn't come last week, so now you're here. It's like I'm gonna try to get you up to speed as much as possible, but I'm not gonna worry about like making sure you have, you know, the right grip.
That's the retention piece.
Yeah.
That's the come to class every week. Right? That for in my opinion, that's why we switched. One of the reasons, right? Because it is gonna back to back. Right? That's the retention piece. You know? I do believe that the one place that you have to teach both is 50-50.
Okay.
Especially in no-gi, because the leg locks feed each other. Right? Like so much of 50-50, for example, is defending my feet while attacking theirs.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can't defend, you can't attack. Because it's what I have, you have.
Right.
Right? So for my classes, that is the one place that I will show both the offense and the defense. but only there.
And that's very apt in a 50-50 where it's so equal.
It's so equal. You one person is not winning.
Right.
Right? Where every other position, you know, like, you know, let's say all like 50-50 is a finishing position, right? Like in every other finishing style position, there's just so obvious of a person who's winning.
Right.
You know? And the things are so opposite, even like passing the guard. What I have to do on the bottom is opposite of what you have to do on top. Where in 50-50, we literally have to do the same shit at the same time.
Yeah.
So I really want to talk about this flow thing.
Okay.
Okay? And this idea of feet to floor, okay? And getting up, right? Getting yourself up off the ground. I think it's so important in fundamentals because it stops you as the teacher from needing to feel like they have to train live.
Yeah.
Right. Because when you flow, right? And I have something to do and you have something to do. I'm going to take you down. You're going to retain your guard. I'm going to pass your guard. You're going to escape the side control. You're going to push me away and get up. Right? And now I'm going to take you down and it's going to reverse. That's enough.
Yeah.
Like that is such chaos for this under 2-month student. They don't fucking need to go to war.
Yeah, it's never
chaos.
good. Well, I won't say it's never good, but in my experience, anytime I've seen fundamental students like positional train, it can go wrong very quickly. Like people get hurt.
Well, I don't even care about the hurt. Okay, hold on. That's not true. I care about the hurt thing.
Yeah.
For me, it's that they do it wrong and it works.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Because everyone sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Everyone sucks in fundamentals.
Yeah.
Everyone sucks in intermediate too.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like we've all had that experience where like a white belt does an Americana wrong. And then you tell them that they're doing it wrong, and they're like, but I just got that on like 3 different guys. Right. And it's like, they were also beginners.
Right.
Like they didn't know what was happening.
For me, it's more the defense. You start to believe that this is how pushing somebody off of you from the mount works, or like, you know, giving your back and getting up works. And because you can get out on people that suck. They fall off the top. They don't know how to move, all this stuff, right? And it works for a year. It works for 2 years sometimes. And then you get to the big boys. Then you get to the purple belts, and you're like, this, and then your house of cards collapses.
Right.
And that I think that's why I think so many people quit at blue belt.
What do you mean?
Their house of card collapses. None of their shit works anymore because
their white belt journey was
shitty. Their white belt journey was just so much live training. Not learning the idea of flowing in jiu-jitsu, right? And how to move from one thing to the other thing, right? I'm going to get to you in a sec because you keep smiling at me here, Phipps. You know? And then when they get to blue belt, none of their shit works. It's so fucking hard. Everyone's a little older, let's say, right? We're not talking about the young studs, right? And all they do is sit on the top of half guard and smash somebody chest to chest because they can't do anything else. To not lose. What are you going to say?
So I have a couple of thoughts. One of them, we can circle back when we finish like talking about what the curriculum should look like and how we teach it. But another thought I had is, you know, I was talking to my strength coach. He's a purple belt as well. And we were talking about some of the young kids in the academy because he trains in Longmont. And, you know, some of the young 3-4 stripe white belts, very young blue belts, like they're in love with some of the flashy techniques. And I remember back to when I was a young white belt, young blue belt, and I just ignored fundamentals for the longest period of time. And it's like you said, the further down the chain you get, the more I'm like, why didn't I just drill a triangle from the close guard for like a year and a half? Instead, I'm like doing flips and rolls and sneaky kimuras. And it's what the fundamentals are not fun a lot of the time. So you want to skip over them, right? And I think that that's something that it can be very difficult when you're talking about teaching a curriculum. It's like, man, these students are bored by this. And it's like, yeah, the fundamentals are boring, but like you said, without them, your house of cards crumbles. Without them, you start. The further down you get and the higher level your partners become, the more you realize, like, I actually don't know jiu-jitsu. And it can be demoralizing because, like, it's not that these young blue belts and young white belts, they're training a lot. Like, they're drilling a lot. But,
Inverted heel hooks from the reverse
Inverted
heel
heel
hook
hooks,
to the backside
Yeah.
50-50.
Right.
Exactly.
Well,
K-guard
because
entries and
I
stuff
also
like that.
think that's what allows beginners to find success with their peers.
Yeah.
Right? Because when everybody's learning the fundamentals, it's hard to get those fundamentals to work. Right? But because I remember I went through this as a blue belt too. It is impossible because I remember I was like grinding on my omoplata game. Like when I first got my blue belt, like I did nothing else for like 9 months, but like omoplatas, competition training. Like I was just working on them all the time. Then I started teaching fundamentals, and those epiphanies I was talking about earlier. Like I started having those epiphanies again because I was coming back to them, but I was a lot better at jiu-jitsu. So I was able to find more success with those fundamentals because just my domain of experience had broadened, right? But like when that was all that I had accessible to me, it was very difficult. Like right now in my training, like it is comical to me how many times I'm using Americanas right now. Like it is almost my A game, how much I am submitting people with Americanas from the top amount. Like it's comical. I'm like, why is this so like there and prevalent? But it's like, but I think about the techniques that I'm using to set it up, right? Where like I'm smashing them out, I'm using the ratchet system to isolate their arm, I'm threatening a back take, I'm threatening a head and arm choke, and then all of a sudden, like to defend all of those other things, the Americana is there.
Do you guys
right?
know my Americana story?
No. But it sounds like a good one.
I don't know if I'm a black belt or not. Maybe I'm a brown belt. I'm in my second MMA fight. I get the guy down, and I'm top half guard.
Mm-hmm.
And let's pretend this table's the ring, even though it's rectangle. I'm over in that corner doing it with my butt and back towards them all, and Maul's over here in this corner. So he can't see. You can just see that I'm in the top of half guard. And I finish the guy. I just push his arm down so he'll react and I can pass him out, right? Like from Americana position, and then he doesn't stop me. And then I start to put some pressure on the Americana, he doesn't stop me, and I just put more pressure on the Americana, he doesn't stop me, and he taps. And I get up, and I was happy, but I was a little embarrassed that, I was super happy, but I got my nose broken earlier, so my nose is bleeding. And Amal is like, I got you, we're gonna fix this, and he's starting to like try to fuck with me. I was like, Amal, stop. And he's like, no, the fight. I was like, the fight's over. He's like, no, man, you're good, you can keep fighting. And I'm like, no, the fight's over. I'm like, he's like, well, they stopped it? I was like, no, he tapped. And he's like, to what? And I was like, Americana. He goes, are you fucking kidding? So yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, but I guess, and this isn't in an effort to be like, oh my God, I'm so good at this or whatever. It's that realization of like, of how you progress in jiu-jitsu. It's circular.
Yeah,
it's circular. Like it comes back to it. It's very interesting to me.
The fundamentals are like, look, this Donner says it, and I agree with him. Pin escapes and guard retention.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Pin escapes and guard retention. There's got to be a lot of pin escaping. Every class, they have to be pin escaping, right? And that's one of the points of our flows.
Yes.
Right? In the fundamentals class. When we teach the takedown, right? Because I just said we do feet to floor. We do 3 takedowns, basically. We do a double leg, a single leg, okay? 1 week each, because not a lot, because fundamentals people can't shoot. Right? They're terrible at shooting. But mostly what we do is ways to get to that side clinch position. Yeah. The side clinch is the place to be in a self-defense fundamentals oriented program. Too close, too far, no shooting in, closing the distance on your feet if that's what it takes, defending the rear bear hug, defending the headlock, defending the front bear hug. Everything comes back to this. So they get reps on reps on reps of finishing this side clinch position. And there are different ways. Punch defense, like I said, over, under, headlock, behind, in front, Then you end that in side control. Every single day, they escape side control. They get if you come 3 times a week, you probably bridged, hipped out, and retained your guard, got your guard back at least 100 times.
Even the frame escape drill is part of our fundamentals warm up. Like they're doing it thousands of times by the time they're done with fundamentals. Yeah.
Every time you get done escaping, after a little bit, you escape the side control. Sometimes we get up in base right away. The class starts, they get up in base, and then it switches roles. Mm-hmm. Right? So you do hundreds of reps of getting up in base. Super important. Getting up off the fucking floor. Right? Mm-hmm. And then what we add in between before you get up, you do a little guard retention. One arm past the guard, the throw the leg drill. Hundreds of reps of retaining your guard. Right? Mm-hmm. Pin escaping, guard retention. The most important skills a beginner student can have.
Yes.
Because this is where they're going to find themselves most often. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be on top. Their sweeps suck. Their takedowns suck. Their submissions suck. So even if they get on top, they're going to go for this really shitty armbar, miss it, and end up where? On the fucking bottom. Mm-hmm. Right? On the bottom. Pin escapes, guard retention. This is what your fundamentals curriculum and intermediate, in my opinion, must be based on. Mm-hmm. And then the other stuff, right? And then mount holding, guard passing, right? And then you filter this in, right? You filter all the techniques that you feel they need to know in a fundamentals curriculum. But if you're not doing those things, I think you have a bad or unskillful fundamentals curriculum and intermediate curriculum. Must-haves.
How much of a fundamentals curriculum do you think it should be self-defense focused, and how much of it is preparation for intermediate?
The self-defense prepares them for intermediate.
How much of the fundamentals is developing a rough sketch, and then when we get to the intermediate level, we're polishing those sketches?
All a rough sketch. It's all a rough sketch for the sport of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's all a rough sketch.
Yeah.
It's like you mentioned before, like when you get to intermediate, now we're kind of connecting some dots. So we're just showing you dots and fundamentals. Like this is in the flow kind of helps put it together a little bit, but even when you're flowing as a new white belt, it doesn't click quite the way that as you get further down, it starts to make sense why you're always going to this frame escape in the side control.
Nothing clicks.
Exactly.
Nothing clicks.
You were just literally saying, here's a smattering of techniques. Here's a general outline of how they come together. And then in intermediate, it's kind of like, here's A and B, right? Here is a reaction to a reaction.
Why do I need to know 2 + 2?
Yeah.
It doesn't click when you learn it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
First, you just learn it.
Yeah.
This is 2 + 2.
Right.
You have no clue why I need to know this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Because in a lot of ways, just more and more I see like our intermediate curricula at Easton as the true base of our jiu-jitsu.
That's why it's the longest one.
Right, exactly. Like it's the true base. It's the big picture approach. And then a lot of what comes before that is preparation for that level, and
don't die. Don't die.
Right.
Don't get
then you develop your base, and then you're ready for the advanced evolution.
Yeah. Don't die. Can you close a distance and hold a side clinch?
Right.
Can you get the fuck up off the ground?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get out of a pin when someone's holding you down in a real life scenario? Mm-hmm. Not look, it works against skilled jiu-jitsu practitioners. Like you have to have a good bridge and hip out. You know, and retain your guard. But dude, if all you have is that frame escape, you're not getting out of my side control. Yeah. You're not getting out of yours, and they're not getting out of yours.
Right.
We then take that and get move on. Like, okay, now this and now that, and now this little move and now this little move. How do you get your elbow back down, and how do you then go from being in a defensive position, bottom of side control, to immediately putting them in an offensive position for you, rather than just going back to neutral. Man, that shit don't fucking matter if you're looking at not getting your ass kicked.
Yeah.
Right? You need 2 escapes. Like you need 3 escapes from side control if you're in a fight. You need the frame escape, you need the pummel escape, you need the headlock escape.
Right.
Right? You don't need the pummel, go out in a single leg, put it in your fucking hip pocket, either sit back in the ashi or put them down. You don't fucking need that. If you need that on the street, you shouldn't have been fighting that dude.
Right.
You should be friends.
Right.
You know, like there's no way.
Yeah.
So all of it is this rough rudimentary focus on don't die. I'm sorry, a good focus on don't die, and a rough rudimentary focus on the sport of jiu-jitsu that's coming for you, so that you can now have fun.
So I think if we're going to talk about mainstream jiu-jitsu meta, the counter argument.
Man, why do you guys got to use these big fucking words? If you use meta,
meta was a 4-letter word. That was not even a big word.
I told you, I'm fucking stupid. Just use the common.
Okay,
what
so
are
what's
we
hot?
saying?
What's hot in jiu-jitsu now?
Is that the mainstream? That's what you call the meta?
Yeah, the meta, right? It's where kind of the direction that the mainstream is discussing more. The counter argument to a curriculum is this idea of the ecological approach.
Explain that.
Oh yeah, that's very popular right now.
It's very popular. We talked about it yesterday at the HQ meeting. It's more about this is the way I understand it, right? It's more about gamifying learning jiu-jitsu. So instead of teaching techniques, we're going to put you in a position with a goal, and we're not going to show you how to get to that point. We're just going to say,
Craig Jones is all about this. Yeah.
Yes,
Greg's
right.
Sodders.
Yes, that's the
guy. He's standard jiu-jitsu. He's really popular with this right now.
So it's like we're going to bring you in, and we're not going to even teach you jiu-jitsu. You're going to learn it by creatively working through these situations toward a goal, and you're going to figure out jiu-jitsu in that way. And so maybe you don't actually learn the most technical way to put your frames in, bridge, and hip out, but you learn some new ways, right, that still work to get your guard retained or to get to a mount.
Maybe I'm the old guy here where I don't want to fucking...
I just think it's an...
I don't know if that works for a fundamentals class.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the people who are really pushing it right now would say maybe it does. And I don't know personally. I just think it's interesting. I love jiu-jitsu a lot because it seems to change so much so quickly compared to a lot of other of the martial arts. And it's always like, and I'm starting to feel like the old guy. When I come in and train, I'm like, I don't know what you kids are doing anymore. Like, can we just smash each other or pass each other's guard?
Yeah, it moves fast.
I think that some people might hear us talking about curriculums, and because this is becoming such a mainstream idea, that would be the pushback against it is, what about learning jiu-jitsu in a more free-form way with goal-oriented positional training?
I think there's something
to it once you understand the basics. You have to know not to give your back.
But I think the idea in this is you give your back so many times that you're like, oh shit, can't get my back. You fall down that rabbit hole so often that instead of someone saying, hey, don't give your back, this is how, you figure it out because this, at the end of that round, it's always this bad result that you no longer want to go to.
What if you're just not smart?
Well, I want to say that I think like the ecological approach, like I don't think it's anything new either. Like I think this has been going on since, jiu-jitsu in its infancy in Brazil, right? Because like when I think about how kids learn and how our kids' classes are structured, where we try to make sure that they are given training time every single class, because I think the younger you are, the more intuitive your brain is, right? I think it's wired that way through a long history of evolution, right? Like we are wired to see and learn, absorb and learn, because that's how we grow and survive. And when I watch kids, it's like you want to give them just enough to understand what their goal is, right? Like, I mean, every class, every time we do positional training, right? Like we're saying, okay, you're going to start in the open guard position and you're going to try and pass the guard, right? But we've probably just gone over a very specific guard passing technique, right? And then I think this ecological approach on steroids is you don't show them the technique and you say, okay, here's this person's open guard. and your goal is to block their knees from getting to their chest and get past their legs. Now figure out how to do that, right? And within that framework, you may uncover some ways to, tripod pass, right? Because that's essentially what I've just described. Is like tripod passing is basically learning how to block that person's knees from coming to their chest and open that inside space, and then you dominate that space, right? But with kids, it's like you show them the tripod pass, maybe explain that concept, and then you just let them go train, and then they figure out all sorts of things.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. My kids are hoopers.
Uh-huh.
Kanan wasn't going to figure out how to do a fucking layup.
Right.
He wasn't going to figure out how to take one step, two step, opposite hand, opposite foot, go up for a layup. There's not another way to do a layup. If you do it another way, it gets all fucked up, right? And then when you add dribbling to said layup, you have to realize that if I'm going to make a right-handed layup, my dribble has to be on my right hand with my left foot stepping left, step, step, go. Because kind of the rules of the game. That has to be taught to you.
Yeah. And I also think that...
And now, hold on, sorry.
Yeah.
Now we have Euro steps. Now we have all, like, it's crazy, like, because people have taken an ecological approach to movement.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that, I forgot where I was going with this, but, the struggle primes the brain to learn, right? Like when we have to struggle, trying to generate an answer through struggle helps us learn something. I mean, and that is why randori, live sparring in jiu-jitsu, is so effective, and why it's the core of the martial art. Like it's what we've all fell in love with. When we fall in love with jiu-jitsu, we fall in love with the training, right? And there's so much discovery and problem solving that is figured out in the training, but like I just read Drysdale's latest book, The Rise and Evolution of Jiu-Jitsu, and he made this point. He's like, the evolution of jiu-jitsu does not happen by someone sitting alone in their room and imagining all these things. It happens through trial and error, through experience, like through combat. And I think what the ecological approach does is it gives people a framework to make those discoveries. But it's also like, if those discoveries, like if we didn't know how to pass the guard, I don't know how you give someone a framework to then discover how to pass the guard on their own, right? And so it's exactly like you're saying, like there's this evolution that happens, but then we're benefiting from that evolution when we're teaching the next generation, right? Like we have figured out how to gamify this a little bit more. And I think there's something to it, but it seems to me that there needs to be a balance. And furthermore, like I don't know any world champion currently that isn't doing a balance between like some ecological style training of positional training or live sparring, and then also drilling the piss out of these moves, man. Like, and a lot of the people that I see having success with this ecological approach, like the standard jiu-jitsu students who are winning some tournaments, after only a couple of years of training, those seem to be really young, talented athletes. like this isn't your 40-year-old middle-aged man who's coming in and then like figuring this out.
This is my original point here.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to be, great, go ahead. You're going to commit your whole life to this. Great, amazing. Probably solid way to go. Because you learn this critical thinking skill, right? Sorry. Great, amazing, good for you. But we're talking about a fucking hobby. It's 2 to 3 times a week. They ain't coming with the ecological approach to learn fucking jiu-jitsu because they got a wife, they got kids, they got a husband, they got soccer practice. Man, motherfucker, show me how I can get the best at this because I'm coming 2 to 3 times a week. These are my days. Help me the fuck out. Like that was a great theory, and I enjoyed the discussion.
Yeah, but that's where a curriculum might be superior to. That's where a curriculum fucking comes in,
right? Like, I'm trying to talk less with my athletes now because I want them to be critically thinking a little better. When I was down in Texas, right, John doesn't say a fucking word when they train, right? He teaches and then he lets them train. Ecological.
Has he talked about that?
Yeah, I asked him about it.
About the ecological stuff?
No, I just asked him why doesn't he fucking.
Well, he doesn't want to stifle their
He doesn't want
creativity.
to stifle their
Right.
creativity, which is the ecological
Yeah.
approach, right? So I've tried to model that a little, and it's good, it's solid, and I think he's right there. And I do too much of them relying on me, right? Like, and because I'm very good at it, I can see exactly what to do, right? This is a superpower of mine. Okay, boom, 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 and it doesn't. The intensity doesn't fuck with me, right? So anyway, but he's dealing with fucking world champions that all they do is they train 3 times a day. Man. Who's a dad in Longmont?
I mean, who?
Ben.
He has
Ben?
no time
Yes, okay, Ben.
to go home afterwards and critically think about how to fucking pass the goddamn guard and separate someone's knees from their chest.
Right.
He's got to get his kids to bed. He's got to pay the bills. He's got to have sex with his wife, which is way more important to him,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it's a great theory. It's a great theory. I'm sure it can work. I want to see someone become a world champion off of it, like a real world, like I'll say brown belt and up.
Yeah.
Win a brown belt world title and up.
I want to learn more about it. Like, I mean, there's like,
Before I say yes, of like, okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
right.
he's got some young
exactly.
students winning at blue belt. You train every day, you're gonna fucking win at blue belt.
Right.
I don't know what to say. Like, if you come in and train every day, twice a day,
And you're a young stud.
and you're young, you're gonna fucking win at blue belt.
Sure.
It does not take that much. No offense to all of the blue belt champions out there. It just that you're gonna win. I don't know if you win a world title. You know, have any of his guys won world titles?
Not that I know of. I mean, I know they've won like advanced divisions at like some well-known locals and stuff like that.
So,
but I'm not seeing like an ADCC world champion come out of an exclusive
I'm saying an
ecological.
IBJJF blue belt world champion.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen that yet either. But
Well, multiples, right? Multiples, time over time.
yeah. I mean, it reminds me of, like kind of the Kit Dale approach that he's been marketing
not
and
created
championing
anyone,
for.
though.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's some products out there that have been released with like, here's a set of games
Right.
that you can play to take the ecological approach and stuff like that. But
We live in the day of like, if you can speak loud enough and have some like really low level results, it actually matters. Like people will pay attention to you. And I love Kit Dale. I'm a Kit Dale fan.
yeah.
You know, but like if we're talking about the best ways to teach jiu-jitsu, I need to see it repeated, right? I need to see the success of it, and then it repeated time over time over time, right? Like you can say whatever you want about us, right? I was a champion, okay? Then Mike and Ian became champions, right? And that genre, okay? Nick Klein was a champion, kind of in between and with me, right? Nick started and then faded off. Anna became a champion, right? Like, we've repeated.
Right.
Like, we've taken a generation after a generation. Combs was in the middle.
Right.
Right? Like, we're not Danaher. I'm not saying that by any means.
Sure.
Right? But repeated how our methodology of curriculum and teaching, and we've gotten better at, you know? So, I mean, I want to see you do it for 15, 20 years before we start saying yes to something.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're the best. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, AOJ, look what they fucking do. They have a goddamn curriculum.
Oh yeah. A very well developed one.
Well-developed curriculum.
Very well developed program. Yeah.
They're the best right now.
Yeah.
They're the best at this creating amazing students.
Yes.
No one is even close.
I agree.
And it's a mix.
It is a mix.
It's a mix. But you have to have curriculum. You know? You have to have curriculum. We're going to wrap here.
Very good.
Guys, as always, thanks to everybody for listening. Go to our website, Easton.Online. Become one of our affiliate members if that is what you are looking for. We are right now running a couple of things. a new affiliate program. Hopefully by the time this podcast releases, we're really fucking hoping. So if you have checked out our affiliate out before, this one is I'm just gonna say it, much cheaper. Much cheaper, a little bit different, all the same material, right? Even probably more material, better material, hundreds and hundreds of hours, not hundreds and hundreds. Let's go hundreds of hours.
A 6-month curriculum on how you can build an amazing jiu-jitsu or martial arts school.
We also have, if you have under 100 members or haven't opened your school yet and you're thinking of it, a 3-month launch program that will get you to 100 members inside 3 months. So we have these two things going on. Go to the website, Easton.Online. Hit me up, hit Phipps up. Jordan ain't on that shit. He's fucking smart. So hit one of us up if you have a question. And I think that's it, guys. Jordan, fuck yeah.
Awesome.
Phipps.
Nice work, everybody.
Good luck. Good luck, Phipps. Do your fucking
Best
thing.
of skill.
Just say good luck, bro.
He doesn't like good luck.
You don't like good luck?
Don't need much luck.
Would you rather have
He
skill
prefers
or luck?
best of skill.
I'd rather be more skilled than my opponent.
I would too, but you don't want bad luck.
No, not bad luck.
So I want
don't
you
wish
to have,
me bad luck,
right,
please.
But I want to wish you the opposite. I want to wish you good fucking luck.
I appreciate that.
I know you are skilled, right? I know you're skilled. If your opponent's more skilled than you, I want you to have fucking luck.
I agree with that as well.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
So, best of skill and luck. We'll compromise in the middle. This is what we do at Easton. What was I going to say?
I think that was it.
Oh, go Lions. Go
Let's
Lions.
go.
Go Lions and whoever plays KC right now.
All right.
That's it, everyone.